Hello, how are we, chat? Yes, today is Tuesday. If you don't know, like, Soul Time, Tuesdays are on Wednesdays, and it's definitely not because I keep not recording these in advance. Okay, next week for sure, it's going to be Tuesday Talk on Tuesday. Anyway, so if you don't know, last week I talked about meaning and how I was, like, holding myself back, and that really came to a head. I thought that a lot of the reason why I don't do things is because I don't have a passion for things. Like, I don't know if anyone else feels this way, but like, whenever you see someone and they're like, oh, this kid is the fastest Rubik's Cube solver in the world, you look at how many hours they put in and how it's just like, it seems like that's all they do. And I think that's a symptom of growing up online, where it's just like my threshold for being good at something is so high. And I feel like a lot of people do that, where it's like a lot of people who are older than me and who aren't online a lot are like, oh my gosh, Soul, you're so good at piano. Or, oh my gosh, you sing pretty well. Or, it's so interesting that you know how to edit things and mess with vocal effects. And I'm like, I feel like a newborn baby when it comes to these things, and like I'm not good at it. I beat myself up a lot of like, I want to just be able to like pick up one skill and just devote myself to it, and I get so jealous of people who can do that. And I thought about this more recently when I was reading a girls' love novel. I love Yuri. Anyway, it was Koi Yori Aoku, which is Bluer Than Love. Basically, the main character kind of I relate to a lot because she's just like, I don't have any passion for anything. She like quits the volleyball club because she was really good and she was taking spots on the team for people who like actually want to play volleyball, and she's just like, I don't like this. There's a lot of talk about passion and just people who actually want to do a certain hobby. And to me, I always feel like I never had that devotion towards something. One thing that kind of brought this to a head was someone who is my friend sent me some poetry that they were planning on making into a book. As I was reading it, the whole time I was like, this is some of the best poetry I've read. It feels so professional. I'm like this is really resonating with me. And then it got to a point of like, I want to be able to do that, where I have a hobby or skill or something where I can make an impact on someone. My issue is I don't know what impact I want to have. And I think a lot of that is because of how much I make sure that I don't think. It may seem like I'm very introspective. Chat, I do everything not to. Like my hours on YouTube is probably 8 hours a day because I cannot sit alone in silence with my thoughts. And that is something that is scary because I think whenever I do have time to think, it's normally pressuring myself to do more. I don't even think about what I want to do or set hard limits. So that leads on to me thinking, I wish that I had any passion. But the more I thought about it throughout the week, the more I realized I do have passion for things. I just stifle my joy of it. Like, I love YouTube, I love Twitch, I love doing this. As much as like sporadic I am, the issue that I have is I put too much on my plate. And in order to live up to those unrealistic expectations, it's impossible. And it makes it so I put myself down. Like when I'm going to record a video or anything, I think, what am I going to talk about? Oh, I need to also stream this week. I need to make a short this week. Man, I really need to get a schedule around so I can stop doing this to myself. Oh, I'll make a schedule real quick. And then I spend the whole week I spend like hours making a schedule that I just can't stick to. And it's just like, I'm stifling my joy, where it's, I have this passion, I have the motivation and urge to do something. And while I do it, I make sure that I tell myself I'm not enough. It's this perfectionistic tendency. I don't know where that comes from. I was talking to my therapist about this earlier today. And she's like, we really need to explore that came from. I think it's obviously a mixture of like being online and having unrealistic expectations in that way. But there's other reasons. I think having weird, obscure hobbies like Vocaloid, psych, philosophy, liking anime in the 2010s, liking card games, like things like that, where it's just like, I always felt bullied for sharing my passions. And there was this weird, like, seed planted into my head where I noticed if you're good at something, like good enough, people overlook like the weirdness of a thing. Like if you're, I'll give an example of like, let's say I can play Night of Nights, a Toho song on piano. People are thinking, oh my gosh, this person's so good at piano, rather than, oh my gosh, what kind of, you're telling me this is from one of those animes, those Japanese, those Chinese cartoons, you know, like one of those things. Or like, if you're really good at Rubik's Cubes, nobody's like, oh my gosh, you're a nerd. It's like, oh, that's cool, you're so smart. I don't know. Or if you're like really good at singing Japanese songs and you're just a really good singer, nobody's thinking, why are they singing in Japanese? It's like, damn, that's a good voice. And I feel like I put that unrealistic expectation on myself, because in reality, there is probably people who are like, why are they singing like that? I feel like that's also very true when it comes to my identity and gender, where it's like, if I feel like I'm hot enough or androgynous enough, I feel more validated. I feel like a lot of people who aren't sister, I don't know if I'm gonna get shadow banned for saying that word. like the banned word on Twitter. If I pass enough or if I'm hot enough, people will accept me. And it's not realistic. My therapist was like, people are gonna hate you or just not like you. And that's hard for me. That's very, very hard for me. Because I'm a chat, I'm a content creator. Like, I need, this is my validation. I don't make videos to make videos. I make videos because you guys go, oh my gosh, so, I love their gender. They're so hot. And I'm like, yeah, I know. But in reality, I'm like, you're lying. Yeah, but that's kind of what I wanted to touch up on. Make sure to always think deeper. I think that's like the main takeaway I want in these podcasts is a lot of times you have thoughts about how things are or how you are or how other people are, and they're just not true. I get very, very stuck in my head of this is how this is supposed to go, or things like that. Like, even within this talk, there's like countless examples of like, people like me if I'm good enough at something and overlook how weird it is. That's not true. That's just how I felt about some things. Or I feel like I don't have any passions. That's not true. If I didn't have any passions besides like caring for other people, I would be doing life a lot different. I like other things like video editing, storytelling, learning. I'm a big learner. I need to challenge my thoughts in terms of like thinking how things should be or how things are, because I do have passions. I just get in the way of them, and I don't know why. It could be fear of success. It could be a core belief of not feeling like I'm enough, which that doesn't make sense, because what's the measurement of enough, you know? It's super challenging and super hard. But I feel like that's all I wanted to say. I don't want to ramble too much. I like keeping these shorter. Main takeaway, challenge your beliefs and don't get in the way of what you love because of unrealistic expectations. So, what am I going to do? Because I feel like I need to challenge myself. So I need to first identify ways that I get in the way of myself, and a lot of that is negative self-talk, which I need to be aware of the negative self-talk. And the other thing is I need to start noticing when I'm putting too much pressure on myself. So I need to set intentional goals and not give 80 gorillion% effort and instead give, 10% consistently or 30% consistently. Make sure to not burn myself out. Recognize when things are too much and plan accordingly. That's what I'm doing. I hope that this is in any way helpful. A few more wrapping up thoughts. One, I now have a TikTok and Instagram. I will leave that. It's in my bio and linked free, but I will leave it in the description of this video. Two, as I've said the past couple of weeks, thank you so much for 100 subs. The Q&A should be in a week or two. It depends on how many questions we get in the Discord. Leave comments in this video for a Q&A next week or two. I do have a Discord. I feel like that's a given, but I do have one. That's in the description of every video. Thank you so much. Have a great one. Soul out.